Let's try that again. Hi, I'm Natalie Dinamio. What I want to talk about how one thing informs another. It's like a really important thing coming up for me right now, or it's just like right at the top of my head or the tip of my tongue. The tip of my tongue. That's a Red Hot Chili Pepper song. Anyway, but that's a side note. I was working in this like 30-day sketchbook challenge. I'm on day 10. So this is a sketchbook. It's like about a standard letter size paper. But like today on day 10, I just knew like, oh, these small pages are gonna like, it feels too confined. I want to make this big movement, so I'm like, I'm just gonna take the pages and make them, well, work large like a sketchbook, but large. So those are 18 inches by 24 inches, and but there's also something interesting that happened when I was playing around with the leftover blue paint, on this page, on some new pages. So we technically did work in this too on day 10. But this is like super fast, like slap, slap, slap. Just slap it down. And that's the interesting thing. So having the desire to work larger and kind of like going against what the instruction is really, but not like in a rebellious way, just in like a necessity out of the feeling. So like trusting that's a really big important thing. Trust, right? When we can trust ourselves to go somewhere, we can really like see what's there. It can be scary though. So it's like you're always deepening that trust over time. But when in regards to one thing informs another, so I went off of the task. So that's like a detour. But I'm following that feeling. So that's like important information right there, because that was just following a feeling in the action. But what we want to be doing is following these feelings, especially in this kind of expressive, raw, visceral, full emotional art, like action painting, really diving into that, or loosening up if you need to loosen up. That this is going to be another, these are going to be the things, at least is what I noticed over time. And it's really developing the trust, and it's deepening over time for me. And I was telling the facilitator of the sketchbook challenge, Cheryl Tabes, in a post, that I noticed that I'm entering more confidence without hesitation, and I'm quicker to make the decisions, is what I noticed, and just leave it there. This is really exciting because I think I've been training myself all these years to go there, and I would say it's gonna change the direction now. I can feel it, I can notice it. But also, it's one of those things about being at another baby beginning of a new cycle. So it's not like there's this completion in that relationship to the feeling. It's just the noticing and the awarenesses. Now, this is really key, because when you're going to just start out, or say you're stuck right now, whatever, it happens. You want to go enter back into that awareness, and kind of look, and now this could be applied to life too. What is the thing that's you're bumping up against? What is the thing you need to say? What is the thing you need to leave? What is this next step in order to move forward? What is the action, and oftentimes we're in our head, oh, I don't know, but it's just getting it out. saying that thing, having that conversation, making that crazy mark, or maybe it's not a crazy mark. It could be like, you know, whatever you're following. So if it's a linear structure, then that's what it's going to be for you. But like, I'm just speaking through my experiences. Mine would be more of like a crazy mark or something, or, giving myself the permission to just explode in there, on the page at least. And, and just leave it and then see. And then, that's kind of like what we build upon this. And that's where one thing's informing another, but it's like over years, and over all these moments. And that's exciting though, because it means like when you start to see it change before your eyes, and you start to move into new territory, or if you're just starting out and you're starting to get like acclimated to like what it feels like, right? Because there's a lot of things that can be in the way for a beginner, and I could speak to that more in upcoming videos. But we're always really beginners anyway. If we're like being like honest with ourselves, we want that, because that's where like the freshness and the new idea and the aliveness and the innovation is coming from. It's not really coming out of like, I know this, like a hard stance. It's like, oh, I had no idea that was there. What if I go that way? My whole life could change, or my whole like direction and the way I'm thinking about my artwork or my creativity. Or what if I like really, follow that feeling? These are simple things, but I feel like they're complex, because there's like sometimes these internal barriers that we have to move through. So when we talk about like mindset and motivation, to just show up and to just be present. And the reason why I like to use all the emotionality in a work, like, because you learn how to trust how to be with yourself in those emotions too, but you also can like take that and apply it into the work. These are other videos that I want to unpack like further going forward here. I'm talking about one thing informs another, but that kind of all plays into it, because I'm going to work with whatever's showing up, and then I'm going to like move through that, and then I'm going to see what's arising in the process, and like not really turn away from it. But the tendency is to like shut down and run away. Hi, I know that really well. And so like I could see like the predicament that I had, where I was like shutting down and running away, out of whatever things have been placed upon me, or whatever fears and weird things I was holding. And a lot of that is released, right? Not just in art, but in life. And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm done, because it's never one and done in anything, really. You're always going to have that next moment. You're always going to have another conversation. You're always going to have a new experience. You're always going to have the opportunity to choose the direction you want to move into. And that takes responsibility, commitment, dedication, whatever it is. Leaving something behind, making a new action in order to like go somewhere else entirely. You have to, reorient yourself sometimes. And that could be challenging depending on like all the stuff we need to move through. But the exciting thing is we can choose at any given moment, and we can like keep moving through when it's hard. That's exciting, because there's so much possibility in that, like infinite. And that's like also where the mind like doesn't know how to like, doesn't really know how to grasp like the infinite, and that's an abstract idea anyway. And that's why I think we're always going to be like in it. but like by one thing informing another is like there's a next moment and there's another possibility and there's another mark to be made, and we can like follow what we're actually like called to follow, as opposed to like just pretend, oh, like this is that and this is that, so everyone's going that way, you know. So it's kind of like break that structure and break that mold and break that experience, and then go create this whole new thing. um, and that's exciting because that's where like you find yourself in that process, you know. And there's a lot more to be said, and I wanted to get on here because I'm excited about it. And I also wanted to, like, you know, kind of lay the groundwork for where this new, not this, where my new energy is moving towards, and how like, how I see all these conversations that can happen. That's exciting because, you know, I feel freed up in that area, and it took me a couple of years to like free myself up, like in that you know, just vocal expression. But the art is kind of like walking side by side with me into this like new territory, and yeah, it's like expansive and it's rich and colorful and energetic and all the things I was afraid of. Here they are. You know, and I hope that could be like a reflection back for you to either like take that first step, or, you know, 20th or 100th or whatever it is, you know, but like to be motivated to follow through, to see what's there, to get curious, to follow what's arising, to follow the feeling, to move that energy into the moment, into the mark, into the expression. And that is where we start to see that one thing informs another, you know. And that's exciting. But I wanted to get on here right now, and well, it's like fresh. fresh. And like, just one, my good friend is always like, just be you, you know. And that really is so hard to do. I don't know why. In art and life, because like, you know, that we want to feel safe, we want to feel seen, we want to feel secure. We want to be like all of us, right, in that moment, and like have that acceptance. Ultimately, we need to turn more inward and accept ourselves, and you know, just do it anyway, even when we're scared or whatever, and just like show up to these pages and to these marks and these moments, and like give ourselves an experience, you know, because we're the only ones that can do it. There's many people that, you know, could teach it, but like ultimately you're your best teacher, because you're the student and you're the teacher all the time, flipping in and out. And sometimes like I need to be reminded, and sometimes I'm being the reminder, you know, like that's an important thing, because then like that you can kind of drop what you're holding, literally. You know, and you don't have to carry it around as much. It's not like you won't fall back into it, but like we're always like kind of coming in and out, you know. Anyway, there's so many more videos that I want to start to like unpack and kind of not just ramble all the time. But the ideas are exciting, and there's a lot there because it's been years. Years of like being locked up, right? So also I hope like if you're feeling locked up, you know, you just get inspired, hands down. Like it doesn't even matter, even if you don't like want to go in any of these directions, maybe you could still find that like inspiration and just the expression, because it's not always going to be the same. A lot of times things are going to overlap and crisscross. But then, like, you're going to want to move in your direction, and I would encourage you to do that anyway, because that's where you're going to find you. And that's important. And like, so it's like, well, you gotta like pay attention to like what are you following that's been put upon you by whatever. Because like, take all that off, and then like find, it will be scary because they'll be like, whoa, this nakedness, right? Like, of, I don't know what to do now because this was the identity that I carried, and I had been there. So take a deep breath, because like when you, with a loss of identity, there becomes like this new emergence. And sometimes there's that like term spiritual emergence, which is a real thing. But like, when there's that ripening, and that it's like when a stone gets polished, it's like that soul is coming forth, that energy, that new life. But it's still us, right? But it's like transformative, and that's cool, and that's exciting. And I'm gonna start unpacking that idea too, because it's important to me to like express what gets overlooked and denied, not just like by other people, but by like institutions and establishments, So, like, that's like its own separate thing. And when we're talking about this like raw, intuitive, abstract, visceral, primal, primitive, energetic expression, like in a work, you know, well, we kind of maybe want to be undefined. So like that requires maybe too, eradicating what you thought you knew, or what's been dictated toward to you, because like, how are you going to find that newness, you know? And then you could argue that it's not new, but I think it's new for you in that moment. Maybe it's not like new in the construct of it all. But I think there is a lot more newness coming, like just in general, and we're able to generate that and create that, and sustain that, and then like share that forward, and that is fun and exciting because we can really change. I used to like, the change starts with you. It's like the Gandhi quote, right? Or be the change you want to see. It's like literally like that. Like, you become the change, and you generate the energy, and you're not kind of like stuck in those things that like slow you down, or in that trauma pain, or in that fear. Not as much. I'm not saying and life never happens again, but you just don't hold on to it as much. And then you like get more like bolder in your decision making, or you finally do take that leap that you've been denying, or like all these kinds of things start to happen as you kind of like shed the layering and conditioning of whatever it is. And that's how we like become like new again. And we're always doing that. We always have the opportunity to do that, and that's kind of like a gift. And same thing with art, like the ability to just come and create something, or even like say these words, and go into the full expression. That's beautiful. That's, I think, what we're meant to do. Ooh, maybe they agree. Share that beauty forward, and like encourage the process of creation, and become it itself. That's a lot. I think I could have ended it, but I kept going. So I don't know. Is there something wrong with that? See, I'm judging that now. maybe it doesn't make for a clean edit or it doesn't seem polished enough. But what if you just go with it? And because that's the highest excitement, that's the highest energy, that's what's right here and here mainly. Like, woo, wings, baby. Anyway, I'm glad to be back on this channel, and there's a lot more coming. So, stay tuned if you're interested, and if you're not, that's cool, because we all gotta move on and, or stick around or do what we need to do in the process, or maybe even come back around, who knows. Um, and that is where we want to be, kind of in that loose container of like understanding, like, cool, not cool, 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 not cool, and like that's the awareness is. So when you're like eliminating what, it, you're going to find the resonance too. And you're going to be in your own presencing. Oh, so much to say. I don't want to put it all together here because it's not possible. But it's exciting, and I will extrapolate a lot of these ideas and break them down more and more as I move forward this year. So I hope you're like out there feeling inspired and creating and showing up to the moment and just leaning into more of all of it. And if you need help, I offer one-on-one creativity coaching, and you could just find my information at nataliedadamio.com. Reach out to me via email. I'm always on Instagram, DM me there. And I would love to carry this conversation with you forward individually if you need a lot of like one-on-one attention, because sometimes we do need that. And anyway, I'm here in all the ways and moving forward, and I hope you stay around. Thank you.